with regards to my connection to orthodoxy, I have kind of a funny story to tell about that. About 15 years ago, a student of mine who I've maintained a relationship with since I taught at Harvard, I'd helped him through a difficult period. His family had been at the center of a real storm of publicity like this. A front page story for a number of months. Recently, he returned the favor with me. But he proposed at one point that I fly down to Los Angeles and act as the officiant at his marriage. And I thought, well, that's pretty interesting. I never expected that to happen. And so I thought, well, if I'm going to do that, I better get ordained, because that's obviously the logical thing to do. And I thought, well, how do you get ordained on short notice? And obviously the answer to that is you go online. And so, so I went online and I signed up. I could name my church. So I did. I have this church. I'm the only member. It's called the Church of the Spirit of St. Joachim of Flora, which, isn't necessarily the name that you would expect. I liked St. Joachim from what I knew of him, because he had this idea that there were three epochs. There would be three epochs in Western civilization, and one would be the epoch of the Father, and that's roughly the Old Testament epoch, an Old Testament morality that has to do with following rules. And then there was the epoch of the Son, and that was, of course, the epoch, the Christian epoch of the last 2,000 years. And he believed that what would come after that would be the epoch of the Holy Ghost. And the Holy Ghost is this weird spirit thing that hypothetically Christ left behind, that could inhabit people and guide them on their path. And it seems to me that that's very much in keeping with the Orthodox idea that the proper moral pathway for each individual to take is to attempt to bear the burden of the perfect individual, right? To become Christ, so to speak, in an attempt to transcend mortality and finitude and to unite with God. And I thought, well, that was kind of a cool idea. So I thought, well, I might as well have that as a church. And then I thought, who should I be in this church? And I thought, well, Pope was probably a little bit on the narcissistic side, let's say. So I thought, I'll be metropolitan. Because I thought that was kind of archaic enough and sort of out of the way enough so that it was a good joke. So I'm my own metropolitan, my own church. It only has one rule, and so you can join it if you want. The rule is that if you're a member of my church, you can't follow stupid rules. Yeah, so that's a good rule, because it's an anti-rule, which is really funny as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, I went down to LA and I did marry these two, and they're still married, and so that's good. And yeah, so I know that's a bit rambly, but it's been a long day.